Sorry. Mr. Suresh Prabhu ji, please very brief.
Sir, I'll speak.
Only suggestions.
Sir, this, first of all, I hope that we are discussing delimitation. So there is no limitation on speaking, because otherwise delimitation would mean that we have to also limit our speech. Sir, first of all, this is a commission, as was envisaged by the provisions of the Constitution, with a specific purpose, because issue like this will always become very contentious, and therefore you cannot settle the issue by discussion among the political parties, among the candidates. Everybody will say, my constitution should be like this and should not be like this. Therefore, the framers of the Constitution rightly thought that we must have a commission which will go into it, and normally the commission, once commission gives a recommendation, it is take it or leave it. If we now again go into the issue of finding out whether it is right or wrong, then actually we are trying to reinvent the whole process, and in the process we are also saying that we are now become a commission and we will decide what really needs to be done. So therefore, I really strongly object to the ordinance itself. When Parliament had passed the Act, there is no need really for us to make any other intervention and really go into the other issues. We have got a delimitation commission recommendation which I accepted it, except in an exceptional situation that prevailed in the Northeast. So in the Northeast, it is very surprising how our population has suddenly gone up there. This is something which really needs to be examined. And in fact, 3 times. In fact, this is really something which I am sure the minister would like to enlighten the House. That how suddenly a population spurt can take place in the Northeast, and why it has happened, what has happened contributed to it. Have people become very productive? What is the real reason behind it? We really like to know. And therefore, this is something I can understand. But in case of Jharkhand, if we now go into the issue and revisit the entire recommendations of the Delimitation Commission using our own wisdom, then we are in fact challenging the entire premise on which the delimitation has. Having accepted Delimitation Commission's recommendation in respect to other states, to make exception for Jharkhand, in my opinion, it defies the real logic for which the commission is set up by the framers of the Constitution, and it is not something like any other law which we passed in the Parliament. The law which was passed by the Parliament was to appoint the Delimitation Commission. The law which was passed by the Parliament was to decide the criteria on which the Delimitation Commission will act. But if you are now going to go into the merits and demerits of it, which the ordinance has sought to do, I really strongly object to it. Sir, I want to raise some other issues. One, sir, this Delimitation Commission was necessitated because of explosion in population. So what are we saying now? The criteria for this is that we should try to bring about some sort of a uniformity in terms of some constituencies. Some constituencies were as small as few thousands and some were as large as few millions. So how do you make sure that there should be uniformity? So here, sir, there is a fundamental issue. Are we going to put premium now on population? That means we are going to tell the states that increase your population if you want something to happen. So in fact, even the constituency, the states will not get more share. But even the constituencies, if you have more people, your constituency. So therefore, I think, sir, this is about the time that we also move a resolution in the Parliament limiting our population. We need delimitation of constituencies. We also need limitation of population because it is posing serious challenge for water, for land, and for many other issues. So that's another issue. So second issue is about we are actually accepting nationally a concept of smaller states, and that's why we are actually going into creating more states. In fact, we created Jharkhand, we created Chhattisgarh, because we wanted smaller states. We are going for a smaller revenue district. In fact, in Uttar Pradesh, the present Chief Minister has already carved out more districts. Sir, if we are going for smaller states, we are going for smaller districts, and we are going for larger members of Parliament constituency. So what is the logic? If you want smaller states for a particular purpose, you want smaller district with a good logic, how can the same logic not be applied to constituency? So I really don't understand this. But in any case, that's not something, but it's about the time we also think about it in a very serious way. Why? Because a member of Parliament, as it is condemned by everybody, saying that members of Parliament don't do anything. Despite the fact that I know, as on behalf of all the members of Parliament, that how much each member of Parliament really works in his constituency and other places. But sir, there are physical limitations. Suppose if a constituency is going to be now extended in case of say 450 kilometers in length and 300 kilometers in width, how a member of Parliament, one single person, is expected to perform his duties? So here, I think it's a responsibility of the law minister to make sure simultaneously to bring such amendments to make sure that members of parliament are properly empowered to discharge their roles and responsibilities in case of increased geographical area. Otherwise, we are saying now member of parliament has become superhuman suddenly. So he was looking after 1/5 area, now he'll look after 4 times or 3 times areas of that. So that is not going to be workable. So we really must bring about some sort of an amendment parallelly to make sure that this really changes. In fact, sir, there is no other country in the world where a single member of parliament is responsible for 25 lakh people, or 20 lakh people now, almost 20 lakh people. There is no other country in the world where a single person is supposed to be looking after such a large population, such a large geographical area. So I think this is about the time that minister must seriously think about it. Otherwise, on one hand we are saying we are doing it and just we are forgetting the attendant responsibilities that are cast upon a legislator who is supposed to discharge duty as a member of parliament or as a member of legislative assembly. So this is my request.
Thank you. Now I request Shri A. Krishna Swami ji.
Yes.